Ever notice how one little choice, even like a tiny one, can kind of set off this whole chain of events, like missing your train
Oh, yeah.
makes you miss a meeting, which then...
Snowball effect.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into something that really gets into this whole cause and effect thing, karma.
Hmm.
Specifically, the three gates of karma. Have you heard about these before?
Oh, absolutely. It's a framework that's been around forever, but it's amazing how relevant it still is. We're using this new academic thesis as our guide, and it breaks down how our actions, words, and even thoughts shape not just our own experiences, but like the whole world around us.
So we're not talking about some vague mystical force here. It's more about how we actually live ethically every day, right?
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see how this all plays out.
Well, the word karma comes from the Sanskrit Kri. It means to do or to act.
Mm.
Right away, you can see that our actions are a huge way we generate karma.
Okay, actions. I get that. But how do we know which actions lead to good karma versus bad karma?
The thesis emphasizes ethical behavior. It actually uses Bill Gates as an example. Can you believe it?
Really?
He's known for integrating ethical practices into his businesses, like focusing on sustainability and giving back to the community. All of this has had a ripple effect, not just on his own success, but on, the well-being of so many others.
So it's not just about making money, it's about how you do it and what you do with it. That's a
Exactly.
powerful example.
And the opposite is also true. Harmful actions, things like bullying or deceit or, taking advantage of others, create a totally different ripple effect.
Yeah.
These actions lead to consequences not only for those involved, but also have far-reaching negative impacts on communities,
Mm.
contributing to distrust, anxiety, even things like higher crime rates.
Wow. So my choices really impact not just me, but everyone around me. Makes you think twice about how you treat people.
It really does. Every action we take creates a ripple effect, for better or worse.
Yeah.
And this leads to a big question. How are you incorporating ethical actions into your life?
Okay, you're already challenging me, but that's good. So we've covered actions. That's the first gate of karma. What's next?
Speech. The second gate.
Okay.
If actions are what we do, then speech is how we interact with the world. Just as powerful when it comes to karma.
Words can hurt. We all know that. But I'm guessing there's more to it when we're talking about karma.
The thesis makes this cool connection between ancient wisdom and modern research. The Buddha, in texts like the Dhammapada, taught that words can heal or harm, build up or tear down.
Okay, so that's the ancient wisdom. What about the research today? How does that fit in?
Well, studies have shown that people who really believe in karma are more mindful of their speech.
Mm-hmm.
They get that their words carry weight.
Mm-hmm.
They have consequences beyond just that one conversation. They're less likely to gossip or say hurtful things, more likely to encourage, uplift, inspire.
It's like their words have this boomerang effect. What you put out comes back to you.
Exactly. And speech's impact goes even further than that. Over time, how we use our words shapes our own moral development.
Wait, our words can shape how we develop ethically.
Think about it. If we're always negative, complaining, criticizing, gossiping, those thought patterns and behaviors become ingrained, right?
Yeah.
But if we make an effort to speak with kindness, compassion, honesty, those qualities become stronger in us.
So our words don't just affect others, but also shape who we become.
Exactly. And the thesis even says our speech's impact goes beyond our own lives. It can influence social norms and values, over time.
Whoa, that's a ripple effect. How can just talking change society as a whole?
It's gradual, but think about it. Language is powerful. The words we use, the stories we tell, the jokes we share, they all contribute to this collective consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to live in a world that values kindness and understanding, we need to be mindful of the language we use to, create that world.
It's not just about being nice. It's about realizing our words shape the very fabric of society. That's a lot of responsibility.
It is.
Makes me wonder, are you mindful of your words, do you think, before you speak?
I try to. It's definitely a practice.
For sure.
And that leads us perfectly to the third and maybe the most challenging gate of karma, the mind.
Okay, this is where things get a little more abstract, right? Actions and speech are external, but the mind is, well, it's all internal.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so powerful. The mind is where karma truly begins.
Help me understand this. We've got all these thoughts swirling around in our heads, some good, some not so good. How does that translate into karma?
It's about intention. The thesis pulls from the Bhagavad Gita, which emphasizes acting with the right intention, detaching from the outcome.
Wait, detaching from the outcome, isn't the whole point of karma that our actions have consequences?
It is, but karma yoga, as it's called, isn't about ignoring those consequences.
Yep.
It's about focusing on doing what's right, simply because it's right, without being attached to the results.
Mm.
For example, imagine you're helping a friend move. You could do it grudgingly, complaining the whole time, or you could choose to do it with a joyful heart, knowing you're being helpful.
Same action, different intention. I can see how that would make a difference in, like, the energy you're putting out there.
Exactly. Karma is all about the energy behind our actions, our words, and even our thoughts. This is where modern psychology comes in to support what ancient wisdom has taught forever.
I'm intrigued. How does modern psychology fit into this?
Cognitive psychology shows us that our thoughts directly influence our actions. Negative thoughts can lead to this downward spiral of negative emotions, behaviors, while positive thoughts can create an upward spiral of kindness, generosity.
So it's not just about what we do, but how we think.
Exactly. Our thoughts have power. They shape our perceptions, emotions, and ultimately our actions.
Right.
That's where mindfulness comes in.
Ah, mindfulness. Everybody's talking about it. But how does it actually work in terms of karma?
It's a practice for becoming more aware of our thoughts.
Yeah.
It's about noticing those negative thought patterns, the self-criticism, the judgment, the worry, and consciously choosing thoughts that are more aligned with our values.
So instead of letting our thoughts run wild, we actively choose thoughts that will lead to more positive actions and ultimately better karma.
That's the idea. It's a practice. It takes time and effort to cultivate that mental discipline.
For sure.
But the rewards can be huge.
I can see how these three gates, body, speech, mind, are all connected. It's like a system for living a more conscious, ethical life. But let's be real, we all make mistakes, right? We say the wrong thing or think negative thoughts. What happens then? Can you recover from those karmic missteps?
Excellent question. And one that leads us to the next part of our deep dive. Because, yes, there are practices for transforming negative karma into something positive, for learning and growing from our mistakes.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me about these transformative practices. I think we all need a little karma cleanse now and then.
Well, hold that thought because we'll dive into that in the next part of our deep dive.
So we're back and ready to explore this whole idea of transforming negative karma. Because, let's be honest, we're not perfect, right? We all have those moments where we mess up. Maybe say something we regret or don't act as ethically as we could.
Absolutely. We're all works in progress, constantly learning.
Yeah.
And the thesis actually shifts gears here a bit. It focuses not just on generating karma, but transforming it.
That's interesting.
It's a really hopeful perspective.
I like hope. But how do we actually transform negative karma? Is there like a magic formula?
No magic formula, but the thesis highlights three key practices: forgiveness, gratitude, and service to others.
Okay.
They all work together, these practices. They can really shift your karmic trajectory in a more positive direction.
Okay, I've heard of those before, but I have a feeling it's more than just saying I'm sorry or writing in a gratitude journal.
Right. It goes deeper. Let's start with forgiveness.
Yeah.
It's often misunderstood, seen as letting someone off the hook, right?
Yeah.
But true forgiveness is about freeing yourself from that burden of resentment, anger.
So it's not about saying what they did was okay, but more about letting go of the negative energy you're holding on to.
Exactly. Holding on to anger just hurts you in the long run, creates this toxic cycle of negativity. Forgiveness is about breaking that cycle, lets you heal, move on.
It's like that saying, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thesis actually tells this story about someone whose life was completely transformed through forgiveness. They had been holding on to this past betrayal for years, and it was affecting their health, relationships, everything. But once they decided to forgive,
Yeah.
it was like this huge weight was lifted.
I can imagine. But forgiveness is hard, especially when you've been really hurt. Any tips? How do you actually do it?
It's a process, takes time. But the first step is acknowledging your own hurt, your anger. Don't try to suppress it. Then try to cultivate empathy for the other person.
Okay.
Not condoning what they did, but trying to understand maybe what factors led to their behavior.
So understanding, not necessarily agreeing with.
Got it. What about gratitude? I know it's a popular topic these days. Curious what the thesis says about its connection to karma.
Well, research shows gratitude is more than just a nice feeling. It actually benefits our mental and physical health.
Really?
Yeah, studies show practicing gratitude can reduce stress, improve sleep, boost your immune system, increase happiness, optimism, all that.
Wow. Sign me up. But how does that tie into transforming negative karma?
Gratitude is about shifting your focus from what you lack to what you have.
Hmm.
Appreciate the good, even the little things. You cultivate that grateful mindset, and you're less likely to dwell on the negative. You actually attract more positive experiences.
Like you're raising your vibration to attract more good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The thesis gives this great example of someone who used gratitude to get through a really tough time. They lost their job, had money problems, feeling down. But instead of focusing on the negative, they started writing down every day, even the smallest things they were grateful for.
Like what? Give me an example. A sunny day, a good cup of coffee, a kind word from a friend. And over time, this practice really helped them to change their perspective. Focus on the good, even when things were rough.
That's inspiring. Shows that even when things are tough, there's always something to be grateful for. And focusing on that can help you get through it.
It really can.
No, I like it. So, on to the third practice, service to others. I think of volunteering or donating to charity, things like that.
Those are great, but it can be simpler than that. Any action, big or small, that you do to help someone else.
So, holding a door open, helping with groceries, even just listening to a friend who needs to vent.
Exactly. Shifting your focus from yourself to others. Acting with kindness, compassion, without expecting anything in return.
That sounds a lot like karma yoga again, that detachment from the outcome.
There's definitely a connection. Service to others is like karma yoga in action. You're acting from a place of selfless service. The act itself is the reward.
And I bet there's research showing that helping others actually benefits us, right?
Of course. Helping others releases endorphins in the brain, the helper's high.
Oh, yeah, I've thought that.
It's real.
Ah.
And beyond that, service to others has been linked to better self-esteem, a stronger sense of purpose, even a longer life.
Wow, so we create good karma by helping others, and we benefit too. Win-win.
Exactly. That's the beauty of these practices. They're not just about fixing past mistakes. They're about cultivating qualities that lead to a more positive, fulfilling life.
Forgiveness, gratitude, service to others, three powerful practices. They can shift our karma and create a ripple effect of goodness. I'm curious, which one resonates most with you?
That's a good question. I'm drawn to all three, but lately I've been focusing on gratitude. It's amazing how simply shifting your focus to the good can make such a difference in how you feel overall.
I love that. And I think it's a good reminder for everyone listening. Even small changes in our thoughts, words, actions can have a big impact. Which brings us to the final part of our deep dive. We'll explore how all this connects to ethical development, the kind of world we create together. All right, welcome back to our deep dive on the three gates of karma.
Yes, welcome back.
We've covered a lot, haven't we?
We have.
From ethical actions to the ripple effect of our words and how important it is to be mindful.
Yeah, and even practical ways to kind of like transform that negative karma.
Yeah.
Forgiveness, gratitude, service to others.
Right, exactly. And I think what's really cool is how it all ties into this idea of ethical development. What do you think?
Totally agree. It's like all these pieces, actions, words, thoughts, forgiveness, they all fit together, right? It's not just random stuff. It's a framework for how we actually live ethically.
That's what I've been thinking about too, is like the thesis really argues that karma isn't this like thing out there judging us.
Right.
It's more about how our choices affect the world around us.
Exactly. Not some cosmic scorecard, but more like understanding that we're all connected and our actions, even little ones, matter.
So it's not about being perfect, but understanding that we have the power to choose.
Yeah.
And those choices have consequences.
For us and everyone else, that's where this ethical development piece comes in, I think.
Right. It's about cultivating compassion, kindness, honesty, responsibility, all those things that help us move through the world in a way that benefits everyone.
Yeah, it's like karma and ethics are two sides of the same coin.
That's a good way to put it.
They both point us towards living a life that's true to our values, helps create a better world, you know?
Okay, so big picture. We've got these three gates: body, speech, mind, how we create karma through what we do, what we say, and what we think.
And even though we mess up sometimes, create some negative karma along the way, we can shift that with forgiveness, gratitude, service to others.
Yeah, that's powerful. We're not just stuck. We can actually choose the kind of energy we put out there. And that energy, it ripples out, affecting not just us, but everyone around us.
Like we're all part of this giant web, and every choice we make sends those vibes out into the whole thing.
That's such a great image. So as we wrap up, I have a final question for you and for everyone listening.
Okay.
If you could choose one action, one thing to say, and one thought to focus on today to create positive karma, what would they be?
What a question. And remember, this is just the beginning of your exploration of karma. There's
Yeah.
so much more out there. But the most important thing, take what you've learned and actually use it in your life.
Mm.
Be mindful, of your actions, words, thoughts. And remember how powerful forgiveness, gratitude, and service to others can be.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.